So a couple of weeks ago, Musty came out with a video claiming that he had found a really quick kickoff that can consistently beat Grand Champs using something called the speed flip. Now, essentially what the speed flip allows you to do on kickoff is get to the ball before your opponent even has the chance to touch it, and most of the time sets you up for a pretty easy goal. Now, after watching Musty's video, I was literally mind blown at the fact that something like this still existed in Rocket League and nobody had found it yet. So naturally, I had to figure out how it was done. And after about 2 weeks of constantly practicing it and getting super frustrated at the game, I finally got it. And since this is such a new mechanic and there are very few people who actually know how to do it, as of today, it is still very, very overpowered. Now keep in mind, this is not an easy mechanic. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of the hardest that I've ever learned. That being said, I don't think this is something you should be focusing on unless you're approaching the higher ranks or have enough experience in the game to fully understand this. Now, all of that aside, even though Musty explained how to do it in his video, I'm going to try to dive more into depth about how it's done and try to break it down a bit more and explain the intricacies in how this mechanic actually works. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go into custom training and find the Musty speed flip kickoff test. I have the code up on the screen and I'm also going to put it in the description. You can do this in free play, but I highly recommend doing it in this pack. Now, before you start doing anything too fancy, what you're going to want to practice is the base of this move, which is the basic diagonal flip. This is the same flip that you probably use in your kickoff, and the same flip that used to make up what was the old fast kickoff. Notice that since I use a left diagonal flip, before I actually go into the flip, I am turning my car slightly right, just so I can keep that straight line all the way to the ball. You're going to want to keep practicing this over and over until you have it consistent enough to where you can keep your nose over that center line all the way to the ball every single time. Okay, so you've gotten past the easy part. Now what you need to focus on is the cancel, and this is where things get a bit tricky. So the way this shot is set up is that basically if you can reach the ball within the 2 seconds, then you are doing the flip and the cancel correctly. So I'm going to slow it down here and try to go through exactly what it is that I'm doing. So the first step here is to boost forward and go into your diagonal flip in the middle of these two lines on the field. Now, since the people who are going to be practicing this are probably going to be higher level, I'm going to go ahead and assume that y'all already know what a flip cancel is. And that's exactly what you're doing here. As soon as you go into your dodge, you're going to immediately cancel by pushing your stick in the complete opposite direction of the dodge. Now, it's very important here to make sure that after you cancel your dodge, you slowly move the stick back in the initial direction of your dodge. For example, since I'm doing my left dodge, my car has a natural tendency for the nose to point to the right, so I'm going to even it out by slowly moving my stick to the left. This will put my car back on that straight line and allow me to hit the ball with the front right corner of my car, which gives me the best reach possible. It's also very important that while you're turning and while you're landing on the ground, that you're holding power slide the entire time. I would imagine that this might be kind of difficult for some people, assuming that their power slide is mapped to X or circle, whatever it may be on your thumb. I recommend, although it can probably be done with the default button layout, mapping your power slide button to something off of your thumb to where you can do this a little bit more comfortably. I know some people use left trigger, which also doubles as their air roll button. I personally have the Xbox Elite controller and map power slide to my left back paddle. And once you get this mechanic down, you can kind of use it for more things than just the kickoff. You can use it for just overall game speed, increasing your gameplay. You can use it for rotations, recoveries when you're rotating back on defense. It can be very useful in the game just in general, and it's always good to just have up your sleeve. Now, what this mechanic comes down to and what learning it really comes down to is just repetition. It's gonna take a while. Like I said, for me, it took about 2 weeks of me constantly practicing for me to actually make any progress in it. One thing you kind of should remember is that it's not black and white, meaning that even if you don't do it perfectly, you can still get some speed out of it. It just won't be as fast as it would have been if you were to have done it perfectly. Basically, the better you get at it, the faster it'll become. So yeah, that kind of wraps up the tutorial. I hope I explained it in a way that's easy for you guys to understand. Be sure to let me know in the comments how it went for you guys if you're attempting to learn it, whether it was super hard or maybe it was even easy for you. I look forward to getting feedback from it and kind of figuring out how it was for you guys. Also, thank you guys so much for all of the amazing feedback on one of my previous videos, the Diamond to Champ video. I kind of dropped off there for a bit, and it was all of y'all's feedback and all y'all's positivity that kind of made me realize that people are actually receptive to what I'm putting out there, and it makes a really big difference. It really does. So yeah, thank you guys for that. Also, if there's anything that you guys want to see from my channel, any ideas that you have for future videos, be sure to let me know in the comments as well, and I'll do my best to take that into account and possibly create some future videos about the ideas that you guys give me. But other than that, you guys are literally the best. So keep it real, and I will see y'all in the next video. More is coming soon.